Ladies and gents, greetings. Thank you for tuning into First Light Cloud Exchange, your cloud solutions center. Many of you already know that Verizon and all the other local exchange carriers have probably sent out notifications of their plans of decommissioning the copper platform. It has become a major issue. Many of you are grappling with trying to figure out which solution to put in to replace that copper wire that is currently serving your elevator, alarm, etc. And we have Mr. Gabe Setti from Spectrotel and Ms. Angela Gibson, one of our premier partners from Abraham's Consulting, to discuss this particular matter. Welcome.
Thank you.
Pleasure to be here.
Sure. So Angela,
Yes.
I know you've been asking me a lot of questions about how to go about, you cater to a lot of New York City, New York State customers that have a ton of copper wires in places today, how to manage this issue.
Yes, this is true, and I'm very glad to meet you, Mr. Setti, because I'm facing this challenge with the reality that there's a mandate being issued for the copper wires to be decommissioned. Am I correct?
Yes, you are.
And when I go to my clients, primarily the C-level executives in the government agencies, they think they're okay. We have fires, is one of the major objections I get. Or we have SIP, or we have PRI lines. Please tell me what would be the best response to them, because that would help tremendously, because I know they need the service, but
Sure.
they need to hear you from the horse's mouth.
I can understand the challenges that you have, because we face this all the time with our customers. And they're not wrong when they say to you, we have FiOS, we have SIP, we have UCAS, but it all depends what those lines are being used for. There are over 34 million copper lines that are in existence in the United States today that are all going to be decommissioned. It could be as soon as 2 years. There's legislation right now pushing for 2 years, or it can go out to 30. But this isn't about pen. This is about how to educate your customer so they understand the importance of what's going on. And when they say to you, I have these things, I'm okay, I'm covered. So let's address it. So FiOS. FiOS is a Verizon product. Internet over fiber is an AT&T product, the same product, same thing, but they just call it different things. What they're doing is, as the copper, rather than replacing the copper, investing in the copper plant, right, they're replacing it with fiber optics. The only issue is that I replaced the copper, so your calls are going to be clearer, crisper, but they're not certified for E911, these lines. They're not certified for alarms. They're not certified for elevator, any emergency services. They're not certified. Why, you may ask? Because they run on AC power. And so what happens is, there's a power outage, those lines are rendered useless. Verizon does not sell today a battery backup for those lines. It's on the customer's responsibility. So now, if you, the customer, don't know this, then what's going to happen is, God forbid, the power goes out, someone gets stuck in an elevator, someone's trying to call E911, and they can't make that call. That person who said to you, I have it covered, is now liable.
Wow.
So it's an education. Most city agencies, hospitals, have tens of thousands of lines that were ordered 20, 30 years ago. Hospitals, they buy buildings. So now, they might have started at one small building, now they have a complex. You know, they have 8 or 9 buildings in their campus environment. Each one of those has their own phone room. Each one of them probably has 2,000 to 3,000 copper lines. The IT manager is not worried about the copper lines because they're modernizing. So when they say I have SIP, I have PRI, I have UCAS, yes, for their main numbers going out, but what are those lines sitting there servicing? You know, and they're servicing things that it's not what that IT manager or that CIO is even focused on. And this is where you can help educate them. And one of the ways you can educate customers, can you look at their bills? It's very simple. And that bill, with the help of Angela and her company and First Line Cloud Exchange, they will be able to assess and let you know how many of those POTS lines they have.
Have you found in the past that government agencies are reluctant to have you look at their bill?
Some, yes, and what the reluctance is because they're all over. The bills are, you're better off trying to get a customer service record. It's called the CSR, because customer service record, I'll be able to pull and let them know what all their line and what their inventory is.
So instead of them going to look at each bill that's scattered all over,
Correct.
this letter of
Agency, if you can get a letter of authorization signed, it allows a company like Spectrotel to go to Verizon, AT&T, whoever their provider is, and pull all of their lines. Here's the beauty of it. I'm not looking at how much it costs. It's not a bill, so if they're concerned about cost, I'm not seeing it. But what I am able to see is the inventory of lines. And many times when we do this, there's 20% of their lines that they're paying for that they're not even aware.
So that the issue is not even just about, even though it is the main issue, that there could be death, the liability could
Correct.
be death.
Correct.
Death is the ultimate liability, but then there's a financial issue.
Absolutely. And, you know, we were talking earlier, you know, different administrations come in. They change offices. They even change where their desk is. So they want a line next to their desk, where the line over there was just unplugged. They're still paying for those lines. So just to optimize their costs, and just think of it, if they have 10,000 lines and they're not using 2,000, think about average phone line in the city costs about $30. Think of the money, $60,000 a month they can take and put it through a project to help modernize get their battery backups for their SIP and their POTS lines, the FiOS lines that they're using.
If I may take a moment and actually drive this point further, what we are exclusively discussing about are the analog services that the POTS lines are being used for. POTS meaning it's a copper wire, that single strand of copper that we plug into a phone, and that's a POTS line. So the analog services that most businesses use POTS lines for are elevator line, right? Elevator alarm. It's safe to assume that the IT manager or the person in charge of a large infrastructure is not likely thinking about elevator and alarm line. They're falling by the wayside, right? Now, yeah, Verizon is sending out notifications, but nobody's really reading that all the time. And when that line gets decommissioned, now you have an elevator without alarm service. You may think that, well, you have a FiOS circuit, but that FiOS does not have DC power. So if the FiOS goes down, no one will be able to make a phone call, an emergency call from that elevator. That's a matter of life and death. That's what we're talking about here.
Right. And the main issue being the power. If the power, it doesn't matter what they have. If the power goes out, whether they have fiber or
right. So the copper. If we go back to fourth grade science class, right?
Okay.
Remember first time you plugged in a phone into a line and it did not need power, and we were surprised. Wow, it doesn't need a power because the phone was getting power from the POTS line. Fiber optic, while it offers great phone service, it does not carry power. So that phone device in the elevator still needs to be powered up. But if the FiOS goes down and there's no battery backup, the phone is not going to work, right? That's the disadvantage.
So you mentioned about we're going to the life and death emergency, but there's more that we need to look at. Centrex lines, where you have the ability to dial a 4-digit dial. Most agencies in New York use Centrex. So instead of having a phone system in every single building, they're able to do, through POTS lines, to these Centrex lines, 4-digit dialing. Well, when the pots get decommissioned, they're no longer able to do that 4-digit dial. How are they gonna solve for that? Fax lines, modem lines. In Manhattan, you know how many fax and modem lines are still being serviced through POTS lines? Until you get that notification, and I'm not gonna make doom or gloom. Everyone has a budget. Every municipality, every business has a budget. Taz, and you know this, customers that were paying $30 a line get a notice that their rates are gonna go up within 30 days. So you think they're usually not paying attention because someone that pays the bill is not the person that is the CFO, the procurement manager, the person that's managing the budget. Those lines are going up to as high as $1,200. Anywhere from $30 to $1,200. Now, typically they'll go up to $300, $500 a line, but imagine you get in a bill and your calls go up. What chaos is gonna happen? Because your budget now, who's gonna pay for that?
Wow.
And it's because never mind the decommission. So what the AT&Ts, the Verizons of the world, they don't want to wait until decommission. So they're trying to discourage you to get off these lines by increasing your bills. Now, in municipalities, because these bills are scattered all over, and they're not paid as under one umbrella, they're paid as they come. They don't usually catch that to the end of the year, then why did our costs increase? So these are the things that, the CIO is focusing again, helping with security, making sure that they have primary, secondary access, that they're trying to modernize their technology to get more efficiencies. And they're gonna get hit from the blind side on these increases. So it's not only about life and death. It's not the fact that it's gonna be end of life. It's what is it gonna cost you for waiting? That's the big question that you need to ask them. What is it gonna cost you because you waited? Because if you waited, it's gonna be too late.
And it's the worst when life hits you from the blind.